You ever sit on your bed after pouring your whole damn soul into someone? Time, energy, late night advice, forehead kisses, patience for their I'm just bad at texting BS. And then just kind of sit there like, why do I feel so empty? Like actually empty. Like you just gave away parts of yourself on clearance and didn't even get a thank you text in return. If that's you, keep listening. Because I promise this ain't random. It's not just bad luck or that you attract the wrong people. There's something deeper here, something quiet, something you don't even realize you're doing. And I need you to hear this like your big sibling would tell you at 2 a.m. when you finally break down and admit that you feel like the one who always cares more. So, look, one sided relationships are sneaky because at first, they don't look one sided at all. At first, they feel magical. They text back fast, they laugh at your jokes. You feel chosen, needed. You start doing all this emotional labor because it feels like love. And love is supposed to be generous, right? But here's where it gets twisted. You give because it feels good until it starts to feel like a job. Like you're managing their feelings, babysitting their moods, translating their silence into something that sounds like, I love you, even when they never said it. And then one day you realize, damn, I don't even know what it feels like to be taken care of in this connection. I'm the group therapist, the cheerleader, the one always reaching out. And they're the one always too busy, too tired, or too emotionally unavailable to reciprocate. But they'll show just enough attention to keep you hopeful. Little crumbs. Just enough to make you think maybe they do care. Maybe you're just being dramatic. But you're not. You're not crazy for noticing that the math ain't mathing. You ever think about how much you shrink yourself just to make someone else comfortable? Like how you censor your own needs because you don't want to be too much? Like, bruh, you'll sit there hungry but make them a damn sandwich. You'll have a breakdown in silence so they don't feel burdened. Why? Because somewhere along the line, someone taught you that your love is only valuable when it's useful, when it's selfless, when it expects nothing back. And that's how we get stuck in these loops, playing emotional housekeeper to people who can't even clean up their own mess. Sometimes it ain't even about them. Sometimes it's about you not knowing what it feels like to be emotionally safe. So you mistake anxiety for love. You confuse inconsistent attention with passion. You get addicted to fixing because fixing gives you a purpose. But baby, you're not a rehab center. You're a whole person who deserves to be poured into, not drained. And let's talk about the worst part, the resentment. Oh, it creeps in like black mold. You try to stay patient, stay understanding, but deep down you're boiling. You start doing nice things with a low-key bitterness, hoping they'll finally notice all the effort. You keep score. You silently beg them to do something thoughtful just once. And when they don't, you implode, quietly, in your own head, while they keep living their best life totally oblivious. Because people who benefit from your self-abandonment rarely ask you to stop. They like the setup, you being the reliable one, the forgiving one, the one who bends so they don't have to. And the more you give, the more they learn that you'll never stop. Until one day you realize that being the bigger person is just code for the person who gets emotionally mugged without pressing charges. You ever been in a situationship where you feel like the main character and the extra at the same time? Like you're doing girlfriend or boyfriend things with someone who won't even claim you publicly. You're planning dates in your head. They're sending you dry, wide texts at 2 a.m. And still, somehow, you convince yourself that maybe if you're just a little more patient, a little more chill, they'll finally pick you. Nah, they already did. They picked the version of you that makes their life easier without challenging them to grow. The version that keeps loving them even when they're emotionally bankrupt. And I know this part is hard to hear, but sometimes we stay in one-sided relationships, not because we don't know our worth, but because we think we can earn it. If I love them harder, if I'm more supportive, if I don't complain, maybe they'll finally give me what I need. But love isn't a vending machine. You don't press enough buttons and finally get rewarded with basic emotional care. Real love is mutual. It's not this anxious waiting game where you hope they finally match your energy. If you're always the one initiating, always the one forgiving, always the one explaining your worth, baby, that's not love. That's survival mode. That's attachment wounds, dressed up like romance. Let's be real. You weren't meant to carry love like a backpack full of bricks. You weren't built to water dead plants. You were built to be met, to be seen, to be loved in return without having to beg for scraps. Now I know some of y'all are already thinking, but they're going through stuff. I just want to be there for them. And I get that. Loyalty is beautiful, but there's a difference between support and self sacrifice. If helping them means hurting you, that's not love, that's martyrdom. You're not Jesus. Put the cross down. Because let's talk facts. If they wanted to, they would. If they respected you, you'd feel it. If they valued your presence, they'd show it. If they were capable of love right now, you wouldn't have to convince yourself that the bare minimum is just their love language. It's not. Their love language is comfort. Yours is effort. Y'all ain't speaking the same dialect. And I say all this with love, but you gotta stop auditioning for roles in people's lives who didn't even post the casting call. You gotta stop being emotionally fluent with people who are emotionally illiterate. You're writing poetry to someone who only understands receipts and convenience. So let me ask you something that might sting a bit. When's the last time someone asked how you feel and actually stayed to listen without making it about them? When's the last time someone held space for you without expecting you to be their emotional translator, nurse, or personal motivational speaker? If you can't remember, that's the red flag. Not them liking other people's pics or responding slow. This, the silence when you need something, the vanishing act when you're not fun or useful, the way they go radio silent the moment you stop performing. Now look, this ain't about becoming cold. It's not about never giving again. It's about giving where it's safe, giving where it's mutual, loving people who show up, not just show off when it's convenient. You can have a soft heart and still have boundaries. You can be nurturing without being a doormat. You can be loyal and still walk away when respect leaves the chat. And yeah, it might hurt. Walking away from something you invested in always does. But pain now is better than emotional bankruptcy later. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's sacred. It's saying, I matter too. And if that feels foreign to say, then you really need to. The truth is, you deserve to be loved in your language. You deserve to be chosen in rooms you're not even in. You deserve someone who texts back excited, not out of guilt. Someone who doesn't just like you when you're easy to love. Someone who stays when you're messy, anxious, needy, human. Someone who doesn't see your feelings as drama, but as data. But none of that can happen if you keep settling for emotionally lazy love. If you keep explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand. If you keep treating love like a charity instead of a partnership. And look, I know it's scary. To stop being the one who always holds it down. To risk being alone. To let go of people you swore were your person. But peace is better than potential. Mutual effort is better than chasing clarity. A soft love you don't have to question is better than a passionate love that breaks you every week. So if this hit a nerve, if you feel called out, if your chest feels tight right now, good. That means your spirit's awake. That means that the version of you that's been begging to be chosen is finally realizing you can choose yourself. And once you do, everything shifts. The way you text, the way you love, the way you stop over-explaining, the way you walk away without needing a big dramatic goodbye. The way you realize that I'm tired isn't depression, it's emotional starvation. You're not too much. You're just too generous in places that don't deserve it. You're not hard to love. You've just been loving people who only know how to take. So tell your story, not because you need sympathy, but because someone else is out there right now, tired, drained, doubting themselves. And your story might be the mirror they didn't know they needed. And if this felt like it was for you, it was. You don't gotta wonder. You don't gotta rewind it to check. You know in your gut when truth lands. So maybe this is the moment you stop giving everything to people who give you nothing but confusion. Save yourself a seat at your own table. And let the next person earn a plate.